At number 10, Amy Winehouse. I always find it really sad when someone can't live their life completely open and happy with who they are. We are all unique and designed to be 100% ourselves, so when someone can't be genuine in their own life, it's a little tragic. This could sort of be said for Amy Winehouse, as a documentary revealed a pretty big secret that she took to her grave. It turns out that Amy actually struggled with her sexuality. Despite having been married to Blake Filder Civil and having dated director Reg Travis a year before her passing, it turns out that Amy also had feelings towards women and even had a secret girlfriend. In the BBC documentary Reclaiming Amy, the singer's friend and secret lover Catriona Gourlay revealed that Amy was confused about her sexuality. She opened up about their secret affair, saying that Amy used to write her letters saying, quote, "She used to write notes while I was sleeping saying, 'You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, and how can you look as beautiful asleep as you do awake?'" End quote. As for how Amy felt about her struggle with her sexuality, one can only speculate because she never really opened up about it, but from knowing her so well, Catriona said, quote, "What I took from it knowing her was that she was confused about what it made her. When you have something that is so undefined for years, it's hard." End quote. It's so sad to know that she could never truly be open with herself, and she didn't get the chance to open up that part of herself. At number 9, Brittany Murphy. When news broke of Brittany Murphy's passing in 2009, it came as a shock to a lot of people. It was so sudden that people immediately started up with conspiracy theories as to how she passed away. Per the coroner's report, Brittany's official cause of death was community-acquired pneumonia, but her death sparked a mystery because no one was buying what was reported. After Brittany's husband passed away just 5 months later from similar causes, some thought that it was just a coincidence, but others thought otherwise, specifically the actress's father. He told sources that he believed that there was something more sinister going on and suggested that someone had killed his daughter. He requested that a number of tests be done on Brittany's body in case something was missed or to find new evidence to support his theory, but nothing was found. Though on paper the death of Brittany Murphy is a closed case, others aren't so sure and believe that there are secrets out there that could reveal more. Brittany would have been the one person to know what was really going on, but unfortunately she went to the grave with that secret. Before we carry on talking about the secrets that celebrities have taken with them to the grave, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Marilyn Monroe. Moving on to another mysterious celebrity passing that looks to be shrouded in secrecy, let's talk about Marilyn Monroe and her passing. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her apartment on August 5th, 1962 at the age of 36. Everyone was shocked by her sudden passing, and an investigation was led to figure out just what had happened to the Hollywood bombshell. It was determined that she had possibly taken her life through an overdose, but many people aren't so sure that's what really happened. A lot of people have theorized that there was more to the story, especially given her connection to the Kennedys. There was a rumor that Marilyn had been having an affair with both JFK and his brother Robert, and some say that Marilyn may have been forced to take her own life because of her ties to the first family. Some think that she was silenced because she wouldn't be able to reveal any secrets about the Kennedys, but no one knows for sure. The CIA reportedly has a file on Marilyn's death, but those classified documents probably won't see the light of day, meaning that only the government and Marilyn herself know the secret as to how the movie star passed away. At number 7, Robert Kardashian. Robert Kardashian, the celebrity lawyer, really rose to fame because of the infamous O.J. Simpson case. He was tasked with defending the former football player in his trial, and he was successful at winning his case. However, there was a secret that Robert held that he only shared with one person before taking it to his grave. Robert had told Caitlyn Jenner what he thought about the big O.J. case while he was on his deathbed, and revealed to Jenner that he believed that O.J. really was guilty of taking the lives of 2 people. According to Caitlyn, who wrote about Robert's secret in her memoir, Robert told her, quote, "I would have been okay with it if they had gotten him in the first trial. I believe Simpson got away with 2 savage murders." End quote. O.J. ended up being found not guilty of taking the lives of 2 people, but secretly Robert knew that he was in fact guilty of his crimes. According to Caitlyn, Robert also revealed that he only took the O.J. case to get back at his ex Chris because she was friends with O.J.'s wife before her passing, so there's another secret for you. At number 6, the Notorious B.I.G. The death of rapper The Notorious B.I.G. shocked many people around the world. His death came just a few months after the shooting death of fellow rapper and music rival Tupac Shakur, and both Biggie's and Tupac's deaths remain a mystery. There are secrets involved in Biggie's death, but the biggest one is who killed him. Nothing has really ever been confirmed, and no real arrests were made confirming who the perpetrator was, but earlier this year, a retired FBI agent did shed some light on Biggie's case. The rapper went to the grave with the secret of who really killed him, but this agent alleged that there was some shady business going on and that the whole thing was covered up. Former FBI agent Phil Carson told sources that there was a clear culprit and an effort to cover it all up and make it disappear. According to Carson, quote, "All the evidence points to Amir Muhammad. He was the one who pulled the trigger. There were plenty of others who helped orchestrate it and allowed him to pull the trigger." End quote. Though this can only be considered speculation, speculation without the proper evidence, it's still a huge secret that we may never uncover.
Number 5. Power imbalance. Seems like Lisa Marie and her mother Priscilla Presley could never see eye to eye because there was too much of a power imbalance when it came to the two. It said that Priscilla had all the power. She was the mom after all, and Lisa Marie couldn't run away after her father's passing as she was only 9 years old. So the only way she felt like she could stand her ground was to fight back, be rude, and disrespectful to her mother. Lisa Marie felt like this was her only option to feel happiness was to be combative. And the more Lisa Marie started to act out and misbehave, the more and more her mother got worried. Eventually, by the age of 13 years old, Lisa would start experimenting with substances, and the more Lisa started to fight back so she could be released by her mother's control, the more Priscilla would try her own methods of control. Eventually, Priscilla would have no other choice but to join the Church of Scientology, and she would kick Lisa Marie out and force her to attend courses that Lisa Marie did not want to attend. Number 4. Obedience therapy. Lisa was only 11 years old when her mother Priscilla joined a cult-like religion which is known as Scientology. During her childhood years, she would be dropped off alone at the Scientology Center for hours of obedience therapy and purification rundowns. This would reportedly consist of hot sauna sessions, exercise, and taking vitamins. Lisa Marie had no choice but to attend the sessions, and it seemed anytime she would act up, she would be dropped off. The instructions from Priscilla to the church were to handle her and do whatever they wanted so her daughter would get back into line. Lisa had no choice, and she was forced into conversion therapy and obedience therapy sessions as the church saw these as courses that were fit to her needs. This is something that should never be forced onto an 11-year-old, and yet Lisa Marie was forced to believe that something was wrong with her and she had to attend these courses. Number 3. Michael Lockwood. While Lisa Marie Presley was embroiled into a ferocious custody battle with her ex-husband, she would accuse him of having hundreds of illegal images of younger people on his computer. While many have stated that Lisa Marie falsely accused him of this crime, it really makes you wonder if these crimes were never true, then why would she divorce her ex-husband, and why would the police always stay quiet about the issue as they never confirmed if he was guilty or not guilty? It just all seems a little fishy. In the court filing at the time of her divorce, Lisa Marie Presley would never detail exactly what she found at the time, but she would say she was very shocked, horrified, and it made her sick to her stomach. However, in the papers it would also be said that the Beverly Hills Police Department found 80 of Lockwood's devices during a raid on her home, and she added that the cops still had them and that they never been fully analyzed, and that she had no idea what else would be on those devices, but she was scared that there was more worse images and evidence on those unanalyzed devices. Number 2. 4 divorces. Sometimes it's hard to find love, and it's clear that Lisa Marie struggled with her whole life to truly find the one. In 2016, when news broke that Lisa Marie was ending her union with Michael Lockwood, unfortunately, this would be her 4th failed marriage. In 2007, Lisa Marie would explain her marital woes to Marie Claire when she said her first union with Danny Keough failed because she was really young and Danny had resented her because of who she was. She would then add that her marriage became a power struggle because it was hard for a man to be with a woman who is stronger and wealthy, and that's why she ditched Danny for Michael Jackson. However, she would then recall this being the biggest mistake of her life. As her rocky marriage to Nicolas Cage, she would state that marrying him was a wild flurry and a crazy idea that came with being young. As complicated as it all sounds, Presley eventually disunion from Michael Lockwood was arguably the toughest following their 10 years together. The exes were locked in horns in one of the most bitter custody and spousal support fights Hollywood has ever seen. And coming in number 1 today, we have Cruel to Nannies. Shortly after Lisa Marie gave birth to her beautiful twin girls, she acquired the help of nanny Christine White. According to TMZ, they would detail that Christine sued Lisa Marie because she felt like she was being overworked without proper compensation. The suit claimed that Christine was tasked with caring for the babies around the clock, and she even worked 7 days a week and was not granted breaks. By the following year, Christine would drop her case against Lisa Marie, but not before Presley countersued. In the lawsuit, Presley claimed that White was fired after breaking her contract, and that she allegedly took over 165 unauthorized photos and videos of her children, which broke her confidentiality agreement. The case was ultimately dismissed, and although it's unclear if it was ever settled, Presley seemed to have the last word on the matter, as she claimed Christine's original lawsuit was born out of utter greed and revenge because Lisa Marie fired her. Starting off our list today in the number 10 spot, we have unpaid debts to unknown people. On April 20th, TMZ posted a pretty alarming article that pretty much hinted that there may have been foul play when it comes to Aaron Carter's tragic passing. With Aaron's fiance Melanie Martin speaking out about the results of his passing, she would say that they have not brought her closure, as she still has a lot of questions, as when the star passed away, he was found wearing a t-shirt and a necklace in a tub, which doesn't make any sense, as why would he be in a bathtub with his clothes on? While Melanie continues to speak to TMZ, she went on to note she was thinking about having everything re-examined for a second time because she believes Aaron would not want no stone unturned. With Melanie previously telling publications that there had been text exchanges on Aaron's phone between him and an unknown person for an $800 bill, Aaron's mother has also urged the police to open a more thorough investigation into her son's passing, as there could be foul play involved. And police have not investigated it as a possible crime scene because of his addiction. While speculation still seems to surround the moments prior to Aaron's passing, it's not hard to see that there's something strange going on, and it makes you wonder what Hollywood might be trying to cover up. Number 9. Substance abuse. When Aaron Carter's mental health started to spiral out of control in his early 20s, his struggles with anxiety and depression led to a dangerous addiction. When Aaron sat down with Entertainment Tonight, he told the outlet that when he was doing Dancing with the Stars in 2009, he developed an addiction to medication because of his stage fright. Later, he would confess on Where Are They Now with Oprah that his depression was brought on because he loved his family being together and he didn't want to see his parents get divorced. He felt like he couldn't dwell on it. Eventually, all the stress caused the singer to begin to self-medicate, and in addition to the medication, he also started to drink really heavily. At this point in his life, he also began to tell people around him that he was on a bad path and that he needed help. He even told Oprah, "So I called my mother and I called my brother, and my mother came and picked me up and took me to her house. The next day, I was at the Betty Ford Center." He completed the 1-month program in 2011, and in 2016, Aaron opened up about life after treatment when he admitted that he wasn't going to abuse things anymore and he was just gonna do life his own way. Hey friends, what's up? Are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. Number 8. Chilling prediction. After Aaron checked into rehab in September 2017, he sat down for an interview with US Weekly, and in the interview, the star would make a chilling prediction, with Aaron eerily revealing that when he was growing up, he didn't think he was ever going to make it that far, when he said, "I thought I would pass away by 30. Even when I was 13, 14, I thought, oh my god, I'm going to pass away." When reflecting on his stardom 21 years earlier, he would admit to the media outlet that his life had been pretty tough for him, as he had to deal with a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, loneliness, and he felt like he just needed to get away from everything. At the time of the interview, he was also checking himself into rehab for one of multiple times. He would then go on to explain that he had been burnt, but his goal was to be a phoenix that rises from the ashes, before adding that he was shocked that he was actually turning 30. Number 7. The engagement. Aaron Carter's engagement to Carrie Ann Pench was as fleeting as it was random. And according to People, when Aaron was just 18 years old, this is when he popped the question in front of an audience of 200 people on stage for a comedy tour in Las Vegas back in 2006. Carrie, who was 22 at the time, had previously dated Aaron's older brother Nick Carter. Surprisingly, she said yes. Then 6 days later, Aaron called off the engagement, which would then have Carrie reach out to media outlets to say he's really young and he just needs to get his act together. "I don't know what's going on right now. We're friends and maybe we'll get back together sometime. We haven't ruled out getting back together." Aaron then later opened up about the brief affair on E! News when he said, "I made a mistake and she made a mistake too. So we both did. I was by myself and all of a sudden someone threw it out as a joke and I said, okay, whatever, I'll do it. And I did it on impulse." So it really makes us question, was this just a really short relationship or was it a publicity stunt? Number 6. Chronic health problems. When Aaron Carter's fans started to freak out due to the singer looking relatively skinny due to his chronic health problems in 2015, Aaron went into defense mode during a Twitter rant when he started blaming his weight loss on his anxiety after cyberbullies started to accuse the singer of using hardcore narcotics. In his tweet, he would say, "The way people talk about my weight is like high school times a million. Just so we are very clear, I don't do substances." Later in a Nicki Swift would even report that Aaron broke down discussing the effects of his conditions in July of 2017 when he said, "Unless you're in my body, you don't know. I'm sorry for the way I look. I weigh 135, 140, and I'm 5'8". Doctors said to avoid stress because I can develop cancer. He also went on to admit that he found it really hard to look in the mirror sometimes and that it hurt so bad because there was nothing he could do about it.
And at number 5, Ludwig van Beethoven. On his deathbed, Beethoven wrote a love letter to the love of his life, although he didn't address it to anyone, so we have no idea who this woman was. When he died in 1827, a letter was left to the Germans' immortal beloved. It was later determined that he wrote the letter years before in 1812. Scholars have tried to speculate who his beloved could be, but there is no clear answer. The most likely choice seems to be Antoine Bertinato. She was close with him, mainly because she was actually married to a good friend of his. Others proposed Josephine Countess von Brunswick as the most likely candidate because he had written her love letters in the past. It was speculated that since she was poor and of low social standing, he was not allowed to be open about his true feelings for her. Since he never told anyone, only he knows the answer. And at number 4, the Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia is one of the most infamous cases in LA history. On January 15th of 1947, 22-year-old Elizabeth Short's body was found dead in a vacant lot near a park in LA. The state of her body was the most concerning. Her body was cut in half and all the blood was drained from it. Her body was also perfectly clean, so no evidence was able to be collected from it. There was only one witness that was any help to police. The person claimed they saw a black sedan parked in the area the night before. Since her passing, there have been tons of theories about how or why it happened. And even though so much time has passed, nobody has ever been charged for the crime. Today, the Black Dahlia case remains one of the oldest cold case files in LA, as well as the city's most famous. And at number 3, Prince. Prince is one of the most legendary singers of all time, who made a huge impact on the industry, but his shocking death left many with unanswered questions, and many fans are still convinced we don't know the full story. On April 21st of 2016, he was found unresponsive in an elevator at the Paisley Park studio. Initially, the police marked it as an accident because when he passed away, he had many substances in his system. No charges were filed against anyone, even though many of Prince's fans do not believe he would have done this. Years later, there are still no definitive answers, specifically no idea how he got these substances and how he was able to ingest so much. According to sources that knew him very well, he didn't use any of these substances and had no intentions to start. Because there's still so many unanswered questions, the case remains open. And at number 2, George Reeves. In 1959, actor George Reeves was killed under very mysterious circumstances. He made a name for himself playing Superman in the 1950s TV show Adventures of Superman, but his career was cut short after he was killed. At the age of 45, he was killed by a shot to the head. The strange death was then labeled as him taking his own life, but many fans do not believe this could be the case. It was rumored that he was intentionally killed or the death was completely accidental. To add even more strangeness, the death happened while Reeves was with 3 other people, including his fiancée. But even though all those people most likely witnessed what actually happened, none of them ever told. And finally, at number 1, Nicole Brown Simpson. One of the most talked about cases of all time is the case of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Their death started the case of O.J. Simpson that would become the trial of the century. Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were killed outside Simpson's Brentwood, California condo in 1994. After some investigation, it was clear that O.J., her ex-husband, was the prime suspect. His DNA had been found at the crime scene, and witnesses saw him leaving the scene of the crime that night. After an intense and highly publicized trial, he was found not guilty, and with no other suspects considered, the person responsible is still out there. Although many people are convinced that O.J. is the person who did it, and lucky circumstances are the real reason he got off. He was later found guilty of committing the act in a civil lawsuit done by Ron Goldman's family, but because of O.J.'s financial troubles, he has not paid this debt. Years later, O.J. went to prison for robbery and is now out free.
Starting off our list today in the number 10 spot, we have cancer. After Jerry Springer's family shared that the daytime host passed away earlier Thursday morning, following a brief illness, People magazine would then publish a report, and in it, they would say Springer's passing came from the result of battling cancer. With a family spokesperson and longtime friend Jean Galvin also telling NBC News that Jerry passed away from pancreatic cancer, Jerry's longtime friend and religious leader, Rabbi Sandrod Kobnik of the Valley and Temple in Cincinnati, also told People magazine that Jerry's illness was sudden, when he said he hasn't been sick for a long time, he passed away from cancer, and he didn't have cancer for very long. After describing the former Cincinnati mayor's nature, Kopnick also went on to note that Jerry had a kind and generous personality, and he wasn't really best pictured in his show when he said there was so much more to him than the Jerry Springer show. He was very, very smart. He was a remarkable family man, and he was somebody who understood what it means to pay it forward. With Springer being known for hosting 27 seasons of his talk show, he also headlined the reality series Judge Jerry for 3 seasons and even briefly served as a judge on America's Got Talent. He also was the 56th mayor of Cincinnati in the 1970s, before pursuing a career in media. Being a man who never really lost sight of his roots, he understood the great fortune that his family had escaping Germany, and he will be deeply missed by millions of people all over the world. Number 9. Love for hateful groups. It seems like the only people who get more airtime on the Springer show than jilted lovers seem to be the members of certain Malaysia groups, and none of us could really understand why. Maybe it's because Jerry wanted to use his platform to help the members of these so-called audiences feel better about themselves, or maybe he just had a deep love and understanding for the people he brought on the show. But after the second instance of the show giving the people the attention they were so clearly craving, everyone involved in the incident really should have found themselves giving the boot from the show. These episodes would cause so much drama that an altercation in one episode even broke out after the group members walked on to the stage. It should have been enough for the show's creators to realize that these conversations just weren't okay and they needed to cancel the show. Hateful groups like this don't just appear on talk shows, so the fact that Jerry had extended his privilege to bring them on the show and make them feel welcome really made a lot of people question what his real motives were and why he was so obsessed with interviewing people from Malaysia groups. Hey BTS fans, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what I might just cover next. And seriously, let me tell you, the next videos have some major tea, so you definitely don't want to miss out on them. Number 8. Scandalous life. Back in 1982, Jerry Springer decided to try to take his political career to the next level by running for governor of Ohio. Unfortunately for the star, his campaign was plagued by a major scandal in which he was accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a woman on the streets during his younger years. To his credit, Jerry did own up to the accusations and apologized for the mistake, and he then went on to argue that acknowledging the truth and embracing the matter was a sign of his honesty and maturity, demonstrating that he was still fit to run for office, as this didn't reflect on the leader he could be. As bold as his attempt was at altering the message on this matter, it still wasn't enough to sway the voters of Ohio, and he ultimately lost the race and never made an attempt to run again. Number 7. The game plan. Have you ever wondered why Jerry Springer's guests on his show always managed to get in such dramatic altercations? Well, if so, then you may or may not be surprised to learn that it's more than just a mere coincidence. It seems like right from the show's inception, Springer made a conscious decision to ensure that there was always going to be some kind of explosive battle in every episode to avoid the show becoming just like another talk show. Even if you thought the show's unique platform for crazy spectacles might just be viewed by some as an opportunity to lie for the sake of getting attention, you would be right. Well, at least you would be in one case, when 3 individuals who appeared on the show admitted they have completely fabricated their stories about a continuous love triangle just to get on TV. I guess it's true when they say in Hollywood you really do have to fake it till you make it. Number 6. Banned in the UK. Being a celebrity can come with a heavy price, especially when your show has been known to cross some boundaries. Every year, a handful of celebrities will either find themselves being banned from going to certain countries, or they will have their shows making a ban list, which many celebrities just honestly look away and carry on with their days. But this move move can really affect your career, especially when angry parents find out that their kids are watching your show. So in the early 2000s, the United Kingdom made the decision to ban the Jerry Springer Show from being shown during the daytime on any school holiday. The ban would come after an excessive number of parents complained that they did not want their children exposed to the show's subject matter. Which is honestly a fair statement. I don't know if you did this or not, but I used to skip school and pretended I was sick just so I could watch Jerry say, "You are not the father," and watch an epic altercation occur on the stage. If my parents knew that I was doing that, they probably wouldn't be so happy. But honestly, the show was wild, but maybe that's why we laughed so hard when it came to it.
At number 5, Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's personal life was often a hot topic in the media during her life. People were obsessed with what went on behind closed doors, the good and the bad. Though a lot of her personal life was exposed, one thing that remained a secret until her tragic passing was a horrible incident that she had endured when she was younger. After some digging and a published documentary, the world learned that Whitney was once a victim of inappropriate contact. After the singer passed away, her former assistant told the documentary team that Whitney had once confided in her to tell her about what she had endured when she was younger. The assistant told cameras, quote, "Whitney looked at me and said, 'Mary, I was harmed at a young age too, but it wasn't by a man, it was a woman. She had tears in her eyes. She says, Mommy doesn't know the things that we went through,' end quote." Though she never spoke publicly about what happened to her, it is believed that Whitney once hinted at it in an interview when she got really emotional when talking about adults taking advantage of children. At number 4, George Michael. Imagine being portrayed negatively in the media for basically your whole career just for the narrative to make a 180 after your passing. This is the case with singer George Michael and how his public image changed after he passed away. During his career, George was seen as scandalous and the media really dug into this while he was alive, but after he passed away in 2016, the truth about who George Michael really was came out and it was a very different narrative. He took the secret of his philanthropy to his grave, but many people wish that he was around to be appreciated for giving back to the people. The public came to learn that the singer made many large donations to a wide array of charities like cancer support groups and the Terrence Higgins Trust, which is an HIV awareness group. He kept all of his donations a secret and made sure that no one receiving these donations knew that he was behind it. He was a secret angel giving back to people without receiving any credit, which just shows that this help was genuine, not just for good press. At number 3, Prince. Another celebrity who was something of a secret angel of sorts was Prince. After he passed away in 2016, secrets about the singer started to come out, some of those secrets being about his philanthropy. One person, an environmentalist who worked for the Green Jobs Act, came forward to talk about one of the donations that they had once received anonymously from Prince, where they said that they received a check for $50,000. At first, they sent the check back because it was so out of the blue and they didn't really trust it, but to their surprise, the check came back again, this time with a phone call. The environmentalist then went on to say that the person on the phone said, quote, "I cannot tell you who the money is coming from, but his favorite color is purple," end quote. On top of this anonymous donation, Prince also co-founded an educational effort to help teach minority youths technology called #YesWeCode, and he also made a donation to the family of Trayvon Martin. Speaking out about Prince's philanthropy, his ex-wife said that he never wanted to make these donations public so as to not overshadow the charity or the case. At number 2, Anthony Perkins. Known for his role as Norman Bates in the Hitchcock film Psycho, actor Anthony Perkins lived a pretty quiet and private life, but he also took a very big secret to his grave. When news broke of his passing in 1992, it came as a sudden shock to people. But what the public didn't know at the time was that Anthony had been secretly battling a serious illness that he kept from the public. For 2 years before his passing, the actor had been secretly receiving treatment for AIDS. Speaking out about her husband's treatment, Anthony's wife told sources, quote, "He went twice to stay at a hospital and once as an outpatient, and we went under another name. You think that this man has spent his entire life giving people so much pleasure in show business, and this is his reward. He can't even be himself at the end," end quote. Anthony knew that when the public found out about his condition after his passing, there would be a lot of questions as to why he never publicly revealed his condition, and so before he died, he wrote a statement to be read once he passed on. In the statement, the actor wrote, quote, "I chose not to go public about having AIDS because, to misquote Casablanca, I'm not much at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of one old actor doesn't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world," end quote. And finally, at number 1, Billy Tipton. Billy Tipton was a famous jazz musician who kept a huge secret from everyone. This secret was so hush-hush that not even his closest friends or family knew. Billy had a pretty solid career in the beginning. The 40s and 50s were Billy's time to shine, rising to fame and taking American jazz by storm. Billy's career started to decline, however, after he declined an offer for a recording contract and to open for Liberace. After that, the musician started to fade out of the spotlight. Over the course of his life, Billy was married 5 times, adopted 3 kids, and was considered to be a real family man. But one day, when Billy suddenly collapsed, his secret was revealed. While paramedics were trying to save him, it was discovered that Billy wasn't biologically male. Like I mentioned before, no one knew. Literally no one, so this came as a shock to everyone. It turns out that Billy dressed as a man in order to be allowed into the world of jazz. Because of this huge secret, Billy was forced to live a pretty private life in order to avoid being caught.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have the secret grandchild. On Sunday at Lisa Marie's funeral service, Riley Keough's husband, Ben Smith Peterson, would reveal that the couple had welcomed a secret child last year. The stuntman announced the news while he was reading a letter on behalf of his wife at the memorial service. In the letter, Ben would say, "I hope I can love my daughter the way you love me, the way you love my brothers and my sisters. Thank you for giving me strength, my heart, my empathy, my courage, my sense of humor, my manners, my temper, my wildness, and my tendency. I'm the product of your heart, my sisters are the product of your heart, my brother is the product of your heart." Since the memorial service, a representative has confirmed the birth of Riley and Ben's daughter, and the couple's daughter is the first grandchild of Lisa Marie and the first great-grandchild of Elvis and Priscilla. While everyone was shocked to learn that the Presley family kept a child a secret, Riley's tribute to her mother would bring the whole room to tears as they remembered Lisa for her strength and love. Number 9, we have the childhood message. Before Elvis Presley passed away, in an interview, the king would describe with glee how much of a terror Lisa Marie was. But what many didn't know is that she left behind a hidden graffiti message in a secret drawer. During a live virtual tour with Graceland archivist Angie Marchese, she would point out a secret drawer that was located in the corridor next to the kitchen on the way into the jungle room from the front door. In fact, it's right where fans walk during the regular in-person tour of Graceland. During the interview, Angie would open the drawer, and when it was open, you could see written inside was Lisa Marie's graffiti, which read, "Lisa's home, Graceland," with a smiley face. Also inside the drawer was a 1993 phone book, which seems quite random, but Elvis historian revealed it was owned by the king's aunt Delta May, who lived at Graceland until that very year. Interestingly, all kinds of items remained in the drawers at Graceland, just as they were left behind by those who were living in the mansion. For example, the plates and glasses are still kept in the kitchen cupboards, and is the china in the drawers in the dining room. Additionally, in a drawer in the music room, quite randomly features a samurai sword that was gifted to Elvis by a Japanese officer. Lisa Marie very much saw Graceland as her family home, and the china she used was kept in the drawers in her Aunt Delta's bedroom, which is connected to the kitchen, and it isn't on the tour. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? So don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have her connection with John Travolta. John Travolta and Lisa Marie Presley had known each other for decades, but before Travolta and Presley were friends, Lisa Marie was nothing more than a fan of the rising celebrity. After the passing of Lisa's father Elvis, Priscilla was looking to bring some joy into her daughter's life and used her Hollywood connections to arrange a meeting between the two. However, before rumors started to begin that Travolta and Presley dated, when the two met, Presley was only 11 and Travolta was in his mid-20s. However, there was an apparent connection between Priscilla and Travolta, and it is said their connection apparently led to 3 to 4 secret dates that didn't go any further. However, it was during this time Travolta would speak to Priscilla about the Church of Scientology, as he has been a member since 1975, and extended an invitation to Priscilla to come and see what it was all about. Apparently, Priscilla found it to be very welcoming, and she joined in 1977, and as a result, Lisa Marie had no choice but to join the institution as well. Lisa Marie would then be placed into obedience therapy as a young child, as she was in a bad mental condition after she lost her father, and in her weak moment of great loss, John persuaded her to come in. Number 7, trauma. Before Lisa Marie passed away, she revealed that her last memory of discovering Elvis after he had passed away in the bathroom of his famous Memphis home on August 16th, 1977. Lisa would confess that she didn't like to talk about it. In her confession, she would say it was 4 a.m. I was supposed to be asleep, but actually he found me. Lisa Marie was in her room with her mother Priscilla when Elvis arrived with them a couple minutes later and kissed her goodnight. This would be the last time she would see her father alive. Later, when she went to see her father, she would be attended by her friend Ginger, and discovering her father had passed away, Lisa Marie would be terrified and she ran to the phone to call Elvis's ex-girlfriend, Linda Thompson, who was not at Graceland at the time. Lisa Marie would be left feeling traumatized as she was her daddy's princess and she truly was loved by him. That was a huge trauma for her. Lisa empathetically acted out as a child, and then she would begin to take substances so she could forget the agony of losing her father. Number 6. Overwhelming Priscilla. After Lisa Marie started to act out to numb the pain of losing her father, she began to overwhelm her mother Priscilla in the process. Priscilla would get exasperated with her because she was a rebellious kid, and Priscilla knew that she was not a kid who believed in rules and boundaries. Lisa Marie is said to have been a free spirit, as she would do what she wanted whenever she wanted, and this drove Priscilla nuts because she didn't want to see what happened to Elvis happen to her daughter. Priscilla felt like she was locked in a game of Mortal Kombat with her daughter, and the relationship was actually really hostile for the longest time. The two were just not aligned at all. There was no harmony. Their relationship of welfare was described as living in a war zone that would lead to Lisa Marie to do substances to get away from her misery as she was feeling deep inside her. That's why it's being said that Priscilla is actually taking her daughter's passing really hard, as she still wasn't able to fully repair her relationship with her daughter before she passed away. Number 5. Substance abuse. In Lisa Marie Presley's book I'm Grateful to Be Alive, she opened up about her substance addiction. In the book, she would state it was a difficult path to overcome her dependence to substances and put her life back on track. She would also say in recent years that she has seen too many people she loves struggle with addiction and pass away tragically from this epidemic. She would also go on to note that it was time for all of us to say goodbye to the shame surrounding addiction, and that we had to stop blaming and judging ourselves and the people around us. In the book, Lisa would specifically mention her children as the purpose to stay sober when she wrote, "As I write this, I think of my 4 children who gave me purpose to heal." And later she would state she was so grateful to be alive and that she had 4 beautiful children who had given her a sense of purpose, and that gave her the strength to carry her through her darkest times. Number 4. Finding joy. Lisa Marie was a singer just like her father, and during her time she graced us with 3 beautiful albums. She also looked to her children for joy and told Healthy Living in 2014 that she was ferociously protective over her children by saying, "I smother them in love. They are my priority. That's what I do. That's what I care about. I keep them close to me and make sure they are happy and healthy." And while Lisa Marie's children truly felt inspired by their mom because she was a very strong, smart woman who raised them to do things on their own and not care what people thought, behind her tough shell the star was breaking and searching for something to help her feel whole again. What Lisa wanted to feel the most was joy, and she spent her whole life trying to shed away from the dark and into the light where she could finally feel happy again, like she did when she was a child before she lost her father. Number 3. Scientology. While people have recently been researching details about her personal life, one of the most recent questions people have had is how Lisa Marie got involved with the Church of Scientology, and her involvement wouldn't be the proudest moment of her life. Lisa Marie was reported to have joined the Church of Scientology shortly after her father's passing in 1977. According to OK Magazine, she was brought to the church by her mother, who found it hard to handle Lisa after she got involved in substances in her youth. Lisa's involvement with the church thus began and lasted for several decades. While earlier in her involvement, she would claim that Scientology saved her life, later on in the cult-like religion, she would take a clean break as she claimed it had taken advantage of her and wanted everything she had when she mentioned, "I slowly started to self-destruct. They were taking my soul, my money, my everything." Unlike other former Scientologists, she did not reveal too much about the reason that led her to her decision to leave the church. However, there have been some reports regarding her involvement, and she isn't so proud of them. Number 2. Dark kid. At the age of 9, Lisa Marie would lose her father, and she would continue to endure a string of passings soon after. When in a 2-year period, the Lights Out singer also lost her grandfather as well as her great-grandfather and aunts. In 2003, she would tell Newsweek magazine, "I didn't have much of a runway in life. I was like a deep, dark kid kid who was always melancholy. Lisa Marie also struggled during her teen years when she started to rebel against her mother, Priscilla Presley. While the star claims that she was in a destruction mode, she would then admit in an interview with Playboy that same year that she did anything her mom didn't want her to do, from smoking, drinking, substances, boys, whatever she could get her hands on. And that she went through a substance phase for like 3 years, and it would cause her to be thrown out of her house by her mom, and she would be forced to stay at the Scientology Center. And coming at number 1 today, we have the grueling legal battle. Like any mother, no one wants their children to know the grueling details about the failed relationship she has with their father. With Lisa Marie and Michael Lockwood being officially divorced since May of 2021, they had a grueling legal battle. And a lot of her problems she had with Michael, she would keep a secret for her children's sake. The former couple made the decision to part ways in 2016 following 10 years of marriage, but they have been in and out of court for years, arguing over everything from custody of their teenage twin daughters to money matters. 5 months after the pair finalized their divorce, Lockwood would take Elvis Presley's daughter to court yet again in October of 2021, petitioning for higher child support payments, claiming that he had no steady income at the time. The mother of 4 fought back, saying she couldn't afford it because she was in debt. But Michael alleged that she was still pulling over $200,000 from her rock legend dad's estate, and the judge would rule that Lisa Marie would have to cop up $4,600 per month. In March of 2022, Michael would then demand her financial records be made public after his estranged ex refused to share details of her book contract, following reports that she was promised at least $3 million to write a memoir on her father, as well as her relationship with Michael Jackson. That same month, the musician would also question to know how much money the mother of his children would be pulling from the Elvis biopic. It's clear that Michael was really interested on leeching Lisa Marie's money and would become really aggressive to get more money, and it's clear that he felt he should know all about her income so he could dictate how much of it she should be giving him, and this was a secret she kept so she wouldn't hurt her children because she didn't want them to know that their father was a gold digger.
3. And at number 10, Bob Saget. Legendary comedian Bob Saget passed away suddenly on January 9th in a hotel room in Orlando. Immediately after his passing, fans were speculating on how he passed. After some investigation, it was reported that there was no foul play or use of substances, that he most likely just passed away of a heart attack or stroke. But the autopsy has just come back, and we know that he actually died of blunt force trauma to the head, a much different story than what was said before. The night before he died, Saget did a show at a concert hall in Jacksonville, Florida. Then he was found unresponsive in his room at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, quote, in a face-upward position on his bed, according to a police report. Police are now saying a fall could be the reason, but other experts are claiming the force used is similar to that of a baseball bat, raising even more questions. As of now, Saget's family is blocking the release of any records pertaining to the case over privacy issues, so it seems we may never know what really happened to cause his death. And at number 9, Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera, best known from the show Glee, shocked the world when it was reported that she had gone missing in a lake in July of 2020. She was out on a boat with her young son, and after many hours on the water, the boat returned with only her son on it. Her child was found asleep on the vessel by a boater that afternoon, alongside Rivera's purse, wallet, and ID, but Naya was nowhere to be found. After searching the lake for days, her body was discovered. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department announced on July 13th that they had recovered her body following an extensive search and recovery effort. Since then, her death has been ruled an accident, but for many fans, the whole thing just seems too strange to be true, and unfortunately we will never know the full story of what happened on the boat that day. And at number 8, Michael Jackson. The king of pop died suddenly at the age of 50 after suffering a cardiac arrest in June of 2009. But there's been so much mystery around his death, it went from being ruled an OD to a homicide. He was found unresponsive in his home, and it was determined that he ingested too much of a substance. After investigation, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was charged with manslaughter, with the courts arguing he prescribed Jackson much more than was needed, and his prescription caused his death. Years after his passing, allegations of inappropriate conduct from former friends of Jackson's came to light. And ever since, fans have been trying to figure out what really happened between Jackson and the kids he would spend time with at his home. The secrets of what truly happened will now never be uncovered. In at number 7, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is known for a lot of things, specifically being one of the founding fathers of the USA, but it seems he was not always faithful to his wife, and he had a mysterious son with another woman. The son, named William Franklin, was clear he was the son of Franklin's, but notoriously mysterious over who his mother was. Some suspect he was born before Ben married Deborah Reed, making him illegitimate. Another theory is that he cheated on his wife with a mistress who ended up getting pregnant. William was involved with his father's business and even became noteworthy in his own right for helping his father in his famous kite experiment. He eventually settled in England to distance himself from the family, and when he passed he never revealed who his mother was. In at number 6, Kurt Cobain. Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain tragically passed away at the age of 27 in 1994 and is a member of the infamous 27 Club. Law enforcement determined that Cobain took his own life, but there was a lot of inconsistencies in his case that led many to speculate that's not actually how he died. A book was even written blaming the whole thing on Cobain's wife, Courtney Love. The book claims that he died of an OD before being shot by Love. A private detective who was hired determined that Love even tried to pay someone to have them kill Cobain for her. This man claimed he was offered $50,000 and even passed a polygraph proving it. Although Love was never officially charged, she is guilty in the court of public opinion, and many fans are convinced she is responsible, but only Cobain knows the truth.
Number 5. Struggle to come out. In August of 2017, Aaron Carter came out on Twitter to confirm his sexuality with his fans. In the tweet, Aaron came out to say, "This doesn't bring me shame, just weight and burden I have held onto for a long time that I would like lifted off of me. There were years that went by that I thought about it, but it wasn't until I was 17 years old. After a few relationships with girls, I had an experience with a male that I had an attraction to, who I also worked with and grew up with. Sadly, Madison Parker did not feel the same way, and the two would then call it quits. Later, Aaron would make an appearance on The Burt Show to discuss everything that happened with his split with Madison. Go on to say, I had to discuss being bisexual with my ex-girlfriend, and she didn't really understand it. She didn't want to, and that was it, so we left it mutual and we parted ways." Before going on to note that he's been thinking about everything for years, and he felt like it was really important to come out at this time and say everything he was hiding, as he was starting a new chapter of his life, and he was really looking forward to the future and was excited to find whether he was going to be with a man or a woman. Number 4, the restraining order. Being so close at a young age, no one thought Aaron and Nick Carter's relationship would ever change. But things definitely, somewhere along the line, took a dark turn for the stars in 2019 after Nick took out a restraining order against his little brother. After Aaron unleashed a series of angry tweets and since deleted tweets against his older brother. Nick would clearly air on Twitter with a shocking revelation when he said, "After careful consideration, my sister Angel and I regret that we were required to seek a restraining order against our brother Aaron today. In the lights of Aaron's increasingly alarming behavior and his recent confession that he harbors dark thoughts, we were left with no choice but to take every measure possible to protect ourselves and our family. We love our brother and truly hope he gets the proper treatment he needs before any harm comes to himself or anyone else." Aaron clearly didn't take too well to his family's tweets, to say at least, and he immediately replied to the snub with his own message saying, "I haven't seen him in 4 years and I don't intend to. Take care, Nick Carter. We're done for life." Number 3, bankruptcy. Back in 2013, Aaron Carter started to make headlines after he filed for bankruptcy, with his publicist telling CNN at the time it wasn't a negative thing and it was more of a positive thing, as the star was doing everything he could to move forward from the bulk of debt he was facing due to the fact he lost a massive amount of money when he wasn't in control of his own finances. The singer then went on to clarify why he filed for bankruptcy when he said, "There was a lot of neglect on my parents' part. They didn't do things right. Under the Coogan law, my parents were supposed to be putting 15% of my money into my Coogan account. I got $2 million when I turned 18 years old. I should have had at least $20 million in my account. And at the time, this is also when Aaron realized he owed around $4 million in taxes." While Aaron definitely didn't hold any grudges towards anyone everyone for his financial situation. He also went on to tell GQ, "I don't want people thinking my parents broke child labor laws. So I was like, I can handle this. I love my mom and dad, and they are responsible for giving me my career, and I still have one today. So I'll file for bankruptcy and I'll pay 25 cents on the dollar for every cent I pay back." Number 2, the feud. Even with there being 8 years between them, Nick and Aaron actually used to make quite an adorable team, but they weren't exactly always as thick as thieves. When fans first caught a glimpse of their rocky relationship when a heated argument between the two ended in a fistfight on their 2006 reality show, House of Carters, and in July 2017, their estrangement took another hit when Aaron got arrested for driving under the influence. Although Nick tweeted out to support his brother, Aaron would then go on to accuse him of not really being genuine, as he decided to bring up the conversation on a public forum. As of 2019, the brothers were still on outs, and not only did Nick have a restraining order on his little brother, but Aaron also called out his brother and pretty much insinuated that Nick's charges had truth to them, and if things couldn't get worse, Aaron also stated that Nick was capable of harming him when he went on to say, "I'm so scared that something is going to happen to me. I endured so much abuse from Nick, and I don't know what he's capable of. If something happens, I let God lead the way, and he is with me." And coming in number 1 today, we have the rocky relationship with mom. Aaron Carter's mom, Jane Carter, devoted her life to building her talented sons' careers. But her momager tendencies even put Kris Jenner to shame. In the family's 2005 20 out of 20 special, she would say, "I sacrificed my whole entire life for that child and for the other child for the sake of that family. I made sacrifices every day. I was willing to do it for them, for the family." But the Carter kids lost their mom in the process. And it even had Aaron admit all he ever wanted was for his mom to love him and to just be his mom. Aaron's dad, Bob Carter, then went on to explain, when Nick grew up, Aaron became the cash cow, and all mom loved at the time was the person bringing in the money. To make matters even worse, Jane also went on to write a tell-all book about her sons and how she allegedly stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from their fortunes. Aaron would then later come out to discuss everything that happened when he said, "Every show we did, we'd probably make about 40,000, 50,000 a show, and it was all gone." Fame and fortune then went on to cost Jane her family, and she would even admit, "It taught me a really big lesson, that all material things in the world are not important compared to the amount of time that you can spend with your children."
At number 10, Rock Hudson. Imagine taking one of the biggest secrets about who you really are to your grave. That's essentially what happened with famed Hollywood actor Rock Hudson. Rock was one of the hottest leading males in Hollywood in his heyday, but he lived with a huge secret for his whole life, and people didn't end up finding out about it until after his passing. When Rock passed away in 1985, it was revealed that he had died from AIDS. He became one of the first and most famous Hollywood celebrities to pass away from the illness. Because the illness was so heavily associated with being gay, speculation began to float around saying that Rock had been hiding his sexuality from the public this whole time. This all turned out to be 100% true, as friends and family of Rock confirmed what the public had been thinking in a biography on the actor. In the book, it was revealed that he had an ex-boyfriend named Lee Garlington, and he was described as Rock's true love. Rock's secret was really only known by his closest friends and family and an inner circle of Hollywood, and a lot of them fought to keep his sexuality a secret in order to preserve his career. I couldn't imagine how tough it would be to have to keep such a big part of who you are a secret from the world. At number 9, David Cassidy. Oftentimes we try our best to be open and honest with our struggles in life, but for some it's hard to share some of the things that you might not be too proud of. This is what caused actor David Cassidy to keep a pretty big secret from the public that wasn't actually revealed until after he passed away. Before he passed away, David shared with the public his struggles with dementia. Fans believed that the actor was suffering from the disease, and so when news broke of his death, people just assumed that it was the dementia that ultimately took him. But it wasn't until the documentary about the actor called David Cassidy, The Last Session, came out that the public learned the truth about David's health. It turned out that the actor was never actually diagnosed with dementia, and that this wasn't what was harming his health. Instead, it was alcohol poisoning that he was struggling with, and that ultimately took his life. In the documentary, the actor admitted to everything, saying, quote, "There is no sign of me having dementia at this stage in my life. It was complete alcohol poisoning, and the fact is I lied about my drinking." End quote. One of the documentary's producers producers spoke out about having known about the actor's struggles before the public, where they said, quote, "We didn't want to exploit him, but ultimately he was honest about what killed him, and we decided that his legacy would be best served if we shared that." End quote. Before we carry on talking about some of the juiciest celebrity secrets, why not take a brief moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, why not subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Gene Wilder. When someone is diagnosed with a serious illness, it becomes a very tough and very personal decision of whether or not to tell people about it. I know people who chose to keep their illness a secret until the end, and this is exactly what actor Gene Wilder did. Gene passed away in 2016, but it wasn't until after he died that the public learned about the secret that he was keeping in regards to his health. It turned out that the actor had been battling Alzheimer's for over 3 years before he passed away. After learning this, a lot of people wanted to know why this news was kept secret from the public, and the reason behind it is so touching. Gene didn't reveal his condition to the public because he wanted people to remember him as he was, and not someone who was sick. He wanted to keep the smiles on the faces of his fans. In a statement released by Gene's family, they elaborated on the situation, saying, quote, "The decision to wait until this time to disclose his condition wasn't vanity, but more so that the countless young children that would smile or call out to him, 'There's Willy Wonka,' would not have to be then exposed to an adult referencing illness or trouble and causing delight to travel to worry, disappointment, or confusion. He simply couldn't bear the idea of one less smile in the world." End quote. At number 7, Corey Haim. Unfortunately, as much as there's glitz and glam in Hollywood, there's also a dark side, one of those dark sides being harming and manipulating others. This is sadly something that actor Corey Haim experienced as a child actor in Hollywood. Both he and his best friend Corey Feldman experienced the dark side of Hollywood, and though Feldman has been pretty outspoken about what he endured, Haim on the other hand kept that top secret. The one thing that he kept absolutely hidden was the identity of the person who seriously harmed him. Haim went to the grave knowing the identity of the person who harmed him, but this secret isn't completely lost, as it's alleged that Corey Feldman actually knows who did it. Feldman tried in the past to get his friend to expose the person who caused him so much pain, but Haim refused because he was so scared that this individual would try and hurt them again. Haim made Corey promise that he would share the story of what happened to them if he died, and Corey did share some details, but again, the identity of the person who hurt Corey Haim remains a secret. At number 6, Sally Ride. Up next we have another celebrity who unfortunately didn't get to live their life as open as they should have been able to, as they went to the grave with a huge secret. Astronaut Sally Ride was the first American woman to go to space. She became widely known for her presence in the NASA community, promoting education and interest in space, and specifically devoted much of her life to helping girls excel in STEM. She did a lot for her community, especially women and young girls, but there was another community that she was a part of that no one really knew about until after she passed away. When Sally passed away in 2012, her title grew to not only be the first American woman to go to space, but also the first astronaut to be acknowledged as gay. Sally's sexuality was never public knowledge until her obituary named a woman named Tan O'Shaughnessy as her partner of 27 years.
Number 5. End of the line. To this day, many people have never noticed that the production of The Jerry Springer Show was actually quietly cancelled in 2018, and if you did notice, then you know no one really said anything to why the show was being cancelled. Now I can only imagine that the show's controversial segments were finally met with cancel culture, as a show like Jerry's could never really enter into the television world today because, let's face it, the American Pie days are now over. It also could be because this is when he was diagnosed with cancer and decided he would be leaving the show behind to spend the last moments with his family. Although everyone involved with the show chose not to publicly announce the development or make a big issue out of it in the media, the show would eventually confirm that there would be no new episodes going forward and that they would just be playing reruns and previously unaired stories going forward. And now when we see his show pop up in air, we're really going to remember all the things he brought to American television. And seriously, we're really going to miss Jerry, as we already miss him already. Number 4. Daughter. Although Jerry Springer's on-screen life consisted mostly of being entertained by the shenanigans of others, his off-screen life isn't all fun and games. One of the biggest struggles in the host's personal life is that he had found it hard to take care of his daughter Katie, as she has some severe physical disabilities. As As for Katie's entire life, she has been both deaf and blind. Despite having a difficult challenge ahead of him, Jerry and his wife have always devoted themselves in every possible way to taking care of their daughter, by allowing her to live her life the fullest. And they never were the ones to allow anything to affect this or allow their daughter's disabilities to hold her back from achieving anything she wanted to achieve. With Katie being Jerry's inspiration, she even once convinced her father to compete on Dancing with the Stars, where he placed 5th, and the two had such a close bond, to the point Jerry kept Katie's disability a secret from the world most of the time because he didn't want people to treat her any differently. She even made Jerry a loving grandfather after she got married and had a child. Number 3. Film industry. Jerry has many careers in his life, from being a mayor to a talk show host, but did you know he even ventured into the film industry at one point in his career? And the colossal flop Ringmaster was not Jerry's only foot into the film industry, as in 1999 Jerry even got the chance to play a fictionalized version of himself in a fictionalized version of his show in the classic comedy film Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me. Naturally, the fictionalized version of The Springer Show was actually pretty close to the real thing, with the movie showing 2 characters getting into one giant altercation on the not Springer Show. It totally ended up being The Springer Show, but I mean, how could you not make a fake Jerry Springer show and not have it resemble the real thing? Because if you didn't, it would probably confuse a lot of people. But at the same time, this is when we realized that if a movie was able to convince us that we were actually watching the Jerry Springer Show, then maybe, just maybe, the show was all staged. But I'm gonna let you decide that and let me know in the comments below. Number 2. Burden. With Jerry Springer and his family choosing to keep the star's battle with cancer hidden from the public, so his health struggles wouldn't become a burden to many of those who cared so deeply about him, TMZ would soon publish an article where they would claim that Jean Galvin, a rep for the Springer family, told them that Jerry was sick for months and that he was running through a series of tests, but only recently found out how serious his pancreatic cancer diagnosis actually was. Galvin also told the media outlet that Jerry has always been fairly a private person, so he and his family thought it was especially important to keep his cancer private, as they didn't want people to worry about him or his family. So Jerry and his family instead shifted their entire focus on aiding with his care, which became extremely time consuming, and Jerry knew that his time was limited, and given the severity of his cancer, he made a point to spend as much time as he could with his loved ones as possible. And during this time, he found things really depressing because he didn't want to be a burden to his friends and family, with some friends having no idea that Jerry was sick, and then he went on to do small little things, and his friends say that this is how he was giving them one final goodbye. Coming at number 1 today, we have The Show. Despite how drama-filled the show was, it definitely wasn't everyone's favorite cup of tea, and out of everyone in the world, you would never probably expect that Jerry Springer was actually one of those people. I know, it's a surprise, because he always looked like he was so into everything happening during the filming process that he would be watching certain moments back to back. But I guess that just wasn't the case. Believe it or not, Jerry Springer one time actually even confessed that he never even watches the show himself. While the confession isn't really known by many, he once really did come out to say he's fully aware of how silly and ridiculous his show's subject matter was, and at the end of the day, he only considers his job to be nothing more than a job. But hey, he made a pretty big paycheck doing so can we really blame him for wanting to do ridiculous things to bring in more views? With Jerry leaving the world so unexpectedly, many viewers, fans, family, and friends have flooded to different social media outlets to share their favorite stories of Jerry and how he helped them get through some rough times in their lives. At number 10, we have her mother had custody of her kids. Back in 2017, Priscilla Presley would confirm that she was caring for Lisa Marie's young children, as her kid's father faced explosive allegations after Lisa Marie accused him of sexual misconduct. At the time, Lisa had been going through a very difficult divorce battle, and in the divorce papers filed, Lisa would claim that her twins' dad, Michael Lockwood, was at the subject of a criminal investigation speculation surrounding the fact that she had found inappropriate videos and photographs of younger people on his computer. And while many people were quick to assume that Lisa's children were in foster care, Priscilla would clear up the rumors when she headed to her Facebook to say there's lots of confusion, commotion, and concern from all the talk circulating. Let me put this to rest. The girls have not been in foster care and never will be. The girls have been with me and they will be until this is all sorted out. While it's unclear why the children were not in the custody of Lisa Marie or Michael Lockwood, authorities would also choose not to open up about the official case involving Michael that had Lisa Marie feeling shocked and horrified after she discovered the photos and videos on his computer. Number 9. Bankrupt. By 2004, Lisa Marie Presley would sell off 85% of her interest in the Elvis estate for around $100 million, and it would be the biggest mistake of her life. According to court documents, Lisa Marie declared that she had an income that was around $109,000 a month, and her monthly expenses were around $92,000, which left a narrow margin, especially considering that since the fall of 2019, she had to pay just $750,000 in attorney fees. At the time of the court filing, Lisa Marie had over $3.3 million in major outstanding debt. The biggest debt by far was a line of credit from Barclays Bank UK for more than $1 million. The rest of the stated debt was dominated by unpaid state federal taxes for years 2017, 2018, and 2021. There were also a few similar things like a Maserati monthly car payment of $1,708. Some of the tax debt was being paid off on monthly basis, and there was also $280,000 owed to a ghostwriter that was being used for her upcoming tell-all memoir. Priscilla has also stated at one point in Lisa's life she was in debt for $16 million following a disastrous business deal made by her business manager, Barry Siegel. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Scared. Just days before her passing, Lisa Marie Presley would say that she blamed herself every single day for the passing of her son Benjamin. In an essay written by Lisa, she would write about how painful it was to be judged when a loved one passes in a premature, unnatural, or tragic way, especially if that loved one is your child. The essay was originally published in People in August 2022, and she would say, I already battle with and beat myself up tirelessly and chronically, blaming myself every single day, and that's hard enough to now live with, but others will judge and blame you too, even secretly or behind your back, which is even more cruel and painful. On top of everything else, later the singer would describe her son as the sweetest and most incredible being that she has ever had the privilege of knowing, and that she said that he reminds her so much of her father Elvis on so many levels, and that it actually scared her. Number 7. Axl Rose. Recently, Axl Rose has revealed that he has a secret friendship with Lisa Marie Presley as he opened up about her tragic passing. In an interview with People, the Guns N' Roses singer described her passing as unreal and recalled sending her animal videos to lift her spirits following Benjamin's passing. Axl would also go on to say, I miss my friend Lisa. Her passing, just as her son's or as a kid, her father, doesn't seem real. Lisa loved her family, all her children. My heart goes out to them. When Axl went on to describe his efforts and support of Lisa following Ben's passing, Axl would recall awkwardly broaching the issue of his passing in order to show her that he cared, and he wanted her to know that he cared and wanted to comfort her. For years it's been said that Axl and Lisa had a really tight friendship and that they were known to swap jokes, news articles, and lots of animal videos as a way of raising Lisa's spirits. After the passing of her son, all he wanted was her to be happy, at least as much as one could be under the circumstances. Axl and Lisa became friends when Axl would hang out with Elvis backstage and Lisa would come to the shows, and Axl would also know it was also great to see her as she was always fun and supportive. Number 6. Michael Jackson. Just 3 weeks after her first divorce was finalized in 1994, Lisa would find herself getting married to pop icon Michael Jackson following his proposal over the phone. The pair soon then went to the Dominican Republic, where she filed for a quick divorce from her husband and then wed Michael in private. She would then later publicly announce her wedding by saying, "My married name is Miss Lisa Marie Presley Jackson. My marriage to Michael Jackson took place in a private ceremony outside of the United States weeks ago, but their marriage was rocked by the emerging allegations of accusations of abuse held against Jackson that surrounded younger people." The singer then reportedly became so dependent on Lisa Marie for emotional support while she became concerned about his use of sedative substances. Lisa Marie later said in an interview with Rolling Stone that she had hoped to have saved the Truffle singer, with the marriage being dogged by theories that the pair had an asexual relationship, leading to Lisa Marie appearing in a suggestive video for his hit in 1995, "You Are Not Alone." The pair would then later get a divorce in 1996, and Lisa Marie is said to never stop loving him.
At number 5, Natalie Wood. Up next, we have another mysterious celebrity death that has a lot of unanswered questions. Actress Natalie Wood died on November 29, 1981 when she drowned while on a boating trip with her husband Robert Wagner. Robert had reported his wife missing after an evening of drinking, and several hours later her body was found floating face down in the water, wearing a flannel nightgown, down jacket, and socks. When she was first found, her death was ruled an accidental drowning, but after further inspection, investigators found bruises on her body, which suggested that foul play was involved, and the actress's husband became the #1 suspect. Unfortunately, due to lack of evidence, the mystery of how Natalie died was never solved, though her family remains convinced that her husband had something to do with his wife's death. Natalie took the secret of what really happened to her grave, and we may never uncover what really happened to the movie star. At number 4, Gary Francis Post. You might not be familiar with the name Gary Francis Post, but you must be familiar with the name the Zodiac Killer. For decades, the identity of the Zodiac Killer remained a mystery. The killer was able to commit several crimes and evade capture since the late 1960s, and for years, no matter how much people tried to crack the case, it remained cold, with the families of the victims still desperate for answers. Finally though, the identity of the infamous Zodiac Killer was revealed to be a man named Gary Francis Post. Gary though died with a lot of crucial secrets that will probably never be revealed. Other than the fact that when he passed away in 2018, he took the secret of his killer alter ego with him, he also took the secrets to cracking the complex Zodiac ciphers that were sent to different publications. Though some of the ciphers were solved, many of them remain unsolved, though many people have tried. There are so many questions that people wish they could have asked Gary Francis Post, but we will never get that chance. At number 3, Juice WRLD. Now this one is more of a conspiracy theory that some fans of the late rapper Juice WRLD believe, but it's pretty intriguing, so I decided to include it on this list. There are some fans out there that believe that Juice WRLD faked his own death. Now this theory could have been created because people didn't want to believe that he was gone, or because he really isn't. Let's go over some of the evidence that people use to support this theory. First of all, fans have pointed out that the rapper somehow eerily predicted the age that he would be when he died. In his song Legends, he rapped, quote, "What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21." End quote. The rapper ended up passing away at the age of 21. Further evidence to support this theory comes from one of the rapper's old tweets where he said, quote, "My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, then fake my death." Many people have pointed out that when musicians die, their music sales skyrocket as a result, so some believe that Juice WRLD faked his death to boost his music sales. If that really is the case, then perhaps it's not all for personal gain, because before he passed, he told sources about how he uses his money from his music to give back to others. Honestly, who really knows? What are your thoughts on this? At number 2, Chadwick Boseman. Actor Chadwick Boseman was an absolute legend and a role model to so many. He did everything in his power to do his job and bring us entertainment through the vast array of characters he played on screen. Because he worked so hard to bring joy to his fans, this is how the public failed to catch on to a pretty big secret that the actor had been keeping. It turns out that leading up to his passing, Chadwick Boseman had been dealing with a 4-year-long battle with colon cancer, and he ultimately passed away from it. This information was never shared with the public, and we only found out after the actor died, meaning that he was prepared to take the secret with him to the grave. And finally at number 1, Tupac. Now, I want to know who killed Tupac. The only person who really knows who it was Tupac himself, and that's a secret that he unfortunately took to the grave. The rapper was killed on September 13th, 1996 after an unknown assailant shot him 4 times from a white Cadillac while stopped at an intersection in Las Vegas. We know that Tupac was involved in rivalries with a number of different people, and that his own actions put a target on his back, but even to this day we have no idea who pulled the trigger 4 times on that September night. It is believed that there are specific ties between the case and certain gang organizations and other rivals, but it is such a messy situation that it's hard to get some solid answers. This is just another one of those Hollywood cases that have gone unsolved, with the star taking the secrets and the knowledge of what really happened to the grave.